Is it causing a problem?
You guys go ahead and do your thing and let me see if I can fix it. Okay.
Okay. Are we on?
You're live. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hi, everyone. This is the Mercedes Lucke Benedict show. And we were having a few technical difficulties. So I don't know what was seen or whatever. But hey, it's Halloween week. And it's just one of those times when things could possibly go a little bit awry. And we have our amazing guest here. Finally, she had some technical difficulties. And now we're all here, right, Becky?
Yes.
So we
Let
have.
me tell you, technology hates me. So, this should have been expected when you had me as a guest. So,
Well, I also wanted to do that music video, so I think that might have thrown things off too, but hey, I just got to try this do stuff. So Becky McKiddy-Gydeson, how are you today tonight? How are you?
I am surviving.
Oh, I know you've kind of had, it's been a hard year. It really
Yes.
has. It
Yeah.
really has. And bless your heart, your mom, your dad, and so many people. And I don't want to even like make you sad. So
Oh,
my
I'm fine.
okay. So my
Yeah.
main thing I wanted to do was I wanted to share with you that we did get to premiere the some of the documentary film at this on the big screen in Bridgeport, Connecticut for the Defeating the Demonic. And so,
Very cool.
yeah, and so you're in that documentary, and I'm so thankful for you being in it and also being the part of who you are in it. You're like a big part, Vicky, of my life. You're part of this whole journey. I think you started coming out here, I believe, and it was 2020 or 2021. I'm
I think
starting
it
to
was
get,
like 2021. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's really been an amazing journey to have you be here with and part of our lives. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what you do as a paranormal investigator and your company?
Okay. Well, I own the Tucson Ghost Company. So, with the company, I do ghost tours and ghost hunts and special events, all ghost related for the most part. And then with the team, we investigate for free. So we take on, residential cases and businesses, like yours. And we go in there and we are skeptics. So we don't go in there calling everything a ghost, which I think is very important in this field. And we go purely off of evidence. And so we spend however long at the investigation and gather everything we can. We come home, take forever to review things, and then hopefully we get solid evidence like we did with your case.
Yeah. And so basically you continue pretty much every week or every month to do something. I know you're working in Tombstone too, or you were. I'm sure things are happening during the season. Did you want to talk a little bit about Tombstone too?
Yeah, actually, I'm still working in Tombstone. That's like my major thing that I'm doing now. I have two different buildings that I have access to. One of them's Hotel Tombstone. We have access to the lobby, and we do ghost hunts there on Friday nights. Now, not to play favorites or anything, but the other one is Undertaker's Espresso Bar in Tombstone, which used to be the old funeral home, which is why it's called Undertaker's. And we can basically have access to that building anytime we want. But we do ghost hunts there Friday and Saturdays. Sometimes we throw in some other days, and it is an awesome location. I love the owners, Wyatt and Sean. Wyatt's the son, and Sean's the father. They're awesome people. I love them so much. They're so easygoing. They're just like, whatever you want to do, come in here. They know that, we're going to be respectful. We presented them really good evidence. They loved it. And I've been working with them for, I think, about a year now, and it's really awesome. And, it's a little bit of a drive, but I really love going there. It's an awesome location and I love it.
Yeah, I was so excited when you got to do that because I know that that is a wonderful place and there's like lots of activity there. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the activities or things that you had that have occurred this last year or so going there?
With Undertakers, it's really cool because of the fact that, we take in all my equipment, we set it up, and, you've experienced, the equipment we use. We use laser grids, EMF detectors, trigger objects, all kinds of different things. And depending on their mood, depends on what they decide to play with that night. We've had the twist flashlights go off. We have like, it sounds silly, but it's one of those little like light up cat balls,
Mhm.
and we've had that on the floor, and trust me, it does not move unless someone moves it. It's not just going to roll. There's no slanted floors or anything. And we've had that going off. We've had the laser grid. We see shadows in it. And then some of the things that is just your senses. We've had like the smells. Like we've smelled like cigars there. We've had like old fashioned like perfume smells there. And one of my daughter's favorite, Aubrey's favorite, is they actually heard with their own ears a horse.
Wow.
Yeah, because back in the day, the Black Mariah, was led by a horse, of course, and so they heard a horse there, and Aubrey loved that because she loves horses. So
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, and I was, that's amazing to be able to pick up an animal like that too, which I know
Mhm.
that you can definitely, they're definitely out there. Do you think that out at that specific location that it's more people that are from the West in that time, or do you think that it's even filled with people that are modern, like in the modern last 20 years?
I think anything's possible, but Tombstone in general is just haunted. I think it's the whole town. And, I think it's more of the old Western, the old miners, things like that for Tombstone.
Right. I mean, the history there is pretty remarkable. If people have never gone, which I've gone several. I've loved it there. I used to actually, when I lived in Wilcox, I wanted to drive over there and be in the shows.
Yeah.
That I really wanted to do that because I wanted to keep up my acting and. But it was so far, and they didn't really pay much, so I decided not to do it. But we sure enjoyed going. And I know that they did have like a tour that you could go to the mines, like
Hmm.
where they actually, take you into the mine. I mean, so a lot of people don't realize that there are the mines, that people died in mines. They always think it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
the gunshots.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
have you
gunfight.
yeah, the gunslingers. Has anybody out there actually ever, do you think they've ever picked up Wyatt Earp or anybody like that? Has anybody ever said?
No one's ever actually said. I mean, there's a lot of rumors, and some people will, claim that, Doc Holliday's still out there and things like that. But you got to keep in mind, like Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, they didn't actually die in Tombstone. So, I mean, it's
Right.
possible they could go back, but they didn't actually die there.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Didn't the brother die there? Or was
Yes,
that
one of the brothers did. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
one
was
of the
trying.
Earp brothers. I want to say Morgan,
Yeah, yeah.
because I think Virgil went to California. If I'm remembering my history right.
Yeah, I was
This is
trying to
why I
figure
have a historian on my team, so I don't have to remember the history.
That's a good. Well, and a mutual friend of ours, Tessa Morrow from Paranormal Prowlers, I think she was just in Tombstone not long ago. And she just loves that place. So I'm going to tag her on this video as Heather, we're talking about her, because I literally think she wasn't there not too long ago. I saw her on Facebook. She's also in the documentary Shadows of the Desert. So just check in on your dog. So one of your dogs came back home, right?
Oh my gosh. You know, my life this past year has been insane. You know, I used to do my old podcast with Stan and on this network, Everything Under the Moon.
Yeah.
And I had quit back in, I think it was like March. Um, Dave, who was my co-host and everything for a while, he ended up leaving the team because his life took a crazy turn too. And right when he left the team, things started going downhill for me too. So I was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
In April, we lost my father-in-law. And my mom took a turn for the worst and was sick and all that stuff. And we lost my mom in June. And then there's like all kinds of unwanted drama that I won't go into. But it's just been like this domino effect of everything going wrong. And we actually had to put down our dog Brutus in, I think it was September. So it's just been one thing after another. And we finally did a trip. And we were like, we need a vacation. The trip was okay. There were some issues, but you know, for the most part, it's Disneyland. You have to be happy. But when we came home from the trip, like maybe a week or so later, our dog went missing. She just literally like disappeared. She never escaped before. She never ran away. Our house and our yard is her comfort zone. She doesn't like being away from that. But she was literally missing. We had no clue what happened. We had no clue why she would squeeze through the little area of the fence that apparently she did. But she was missing for 12 days. And we, you know, did a mad search. We were going to pack. We were doing everything to try to find her. And going to pack is very hard because of the fact that you see all these poor little animals in kennels and they all have those poor little puppy dog eyes looking at you going, please take me home.
Yeah. They're like prisoners.
Yes.
It's horrible.
I
And there's
hate
thousands
it.
of them.
Yes. They're always, you know, like overpacked and everything. And I hate it. I feel so bad for
Yeah.
these animals. I am such an animal person and I hate it. The first time I went, it was just me and the girls, and we were like so tempted to get an animal, but I was like, no, no, no. The second time we went, my husband Will was actually with us, and he always says that I'm the one that's, you know, wanting all the animals. He's the one that caved and got another dog.
Oh,
So we brought home Oreo, who
Oreo's
is a
so
border, yeah, he's a border collie, black and white, beautiful dog. So that put us back up to having 5 dogs. Five. Five. And then the very next morning, I swear to you, it was the very next morning, Belle shows back up. It was like she knew we got another dog, and she was like, nope, I'm back home now. She literally showed back up at our backyard. She was at the gate, the fence, trying to get back in. No clue where she was for 12 days, no clue. But the minute we went and got another dog, she shows back up like, nope, you're not replacing me.
I didn't realize it was the next morning.
It was the very next morning. So now we're back up to having 6 dogs.
That's what we have. So you've got what we have now. 6 dogs. Oh my gosh. But amazing that she came home.
Yeah.
And she must have just known something.
Yeah. It's like this sense or something. She was like, uh-oh, they got something new. I'm going back.
I'm so glad she came back.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you saved Oreo.
Yes. Yeah. And then my husband, it was between 2 dogs that he wanted. And I'm so glad he didn't take two. The pound wouldn't let us take two home at once. Um, but he's all, we'll go get, the other dog the next day. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Two new dogs? But then Belle came home. And so we were like, trying to get all the dogs to get along and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
then it was like, well, what if we foster? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm the one saying no now. I'm like, no. I'm like, six is enough. We're not getting more.
It's just so hard,
It
it's
is,
not.
and I wish I could take them all in. I really do, but it's like, oh no, you can't, and it's illegal, to have that many dogs. But
Mm,
I went there and I felt so bad, for so many of those dogs. So all of the listeners, do not shop. Go adopt. Seriously, it's so sad to see them in those kennels.
I know.
Breaks my heart.
I I do not. I mean, I already have a big enough mouth as it is, so now I'll probably already have a bunch of haters because I'm so, with my mouth. But I do not believe that people should be going and getting these little. I mean, I know those breeders are going to breed them anyway, but
Right.
there is, like, if you want a poodle, you can go find, they have poodles, that they'll just focus on. These people will focus on like Oreo, like that kind of breed, or Australian shepherds. I mean, there's so many people that they'll have those that need homes,
Yeah.
really do. And then there's all kinds. I mean, you don't even have to have a purebred. I mean, they're just all of most of our dogs, I think all of them are, rescues, or they wound up here, just from the.
Yeah. I only have one dog that isn't a rescue, and that is my German Shepherd Jack. And that was because my entire life I've always wanted a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
And my husband found it listed somewhere, and he was a good deal. But all the others, like Ariel, we got from some, I forget what the place was called. It wasn't the pound, but it was some rescue that we got Ariel from, and she's a Shepherd mix. Tommy and Boomer, they're a bonded pair that we got last Christmas for my daughters, Aubrey and Bailey. We got them from the Humane Society. And Boomer's a Corgi Chihuahua mix. And I really do not know what Tommy is. I think he's some type of pug, and I don't know what else mix. He's mixed with a lot of stuff. I don't know. And then Belle, um, she was listed on some site. Someone was rescuing the puppies. The mom had given birth like under a house or something, an abandoned house. And
Oh,
so they were, trying to find homes for the puppies. So it wasn't a program, but, she was still, rescued.
yeah.
And then, like I said, Oreo, we rescued from, pack. So for the most part, I think we've always rescued our dogs. Most of the dogs, I think there's only been like a couple that we've actually bought, but for the most part, they've always been rescued.
You're a good person. And I
No.
just know that your life is something good that's going to start. It's just going to start. It just had to go through, that the little bit of sad, a little bit of stress, but I think it's going to be
I
a
think
better year.
it's more like a lot, not a little.
I understand. I hear you. I do. And so, well, one of the things I know that you're doing is you're trying to be doing where you do vacations to Disneyland. Is that?
Yes, I'm a travel agent now too.
Yeah. So is that working? I mean, are you having fun doing that?
I've booked one vacation besides my own. I think I'm booking more of my own stuff now. I keep telling my husband, I'm like, hey, at least when we take vacations, I get some money back now, and I get discounts. No, I booked one vacation so far. It's more than Disney though. I
Okay.
specialize in Disney,
Oh, okay.
but I still have to finish the training, to be honest with you. But I can still legally book things. But I can do cruises and all that stuff. There's just a little, things here and there. Like airline, you don't actually get commission to
Okay.
book airline tickets. That's just a funky thing. But like hotels and tickets and stuff like that. I booked one vacation. They go in December. It was to Disneyland, SeaWorld, Universal, all that. I got commission on all that. Well, I will get commission once they go. It's really fun. I still have to finish the training, and I know once I finish the training, I get some really good discounts and stuff. So I need to do it. But I started this quest right around the same time that my mom went downhill. So I finished the Disney section of it because, I'm that huge Disney fan, but I
Oh,
need to go back and finish the rest of it. And honestly, I haven't been motivated to do it, but
yeah.
things are starting to settle down. So I'm going to get back to it here soon, but it is a lot of fun. I like doing it. I love helping other people plan Disney vacations because I am, you know, really good with Disney because I've been there like every freaking year for I don't know how many years. Like
Well,
I said, we just went in October, and it was a lot of fun. We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, and we did the Oogie Boogie Bash, and we did 2 days in each park, so it was a lot of fun.
well, and your family always took you to Disney, didn't they? Your mom and dad, or your mom and your
No,
grandmas?
my mom took me to Disney, I think, like once, because
Oh,
when growing up I was in Ohio, so Disney was kind of too far away from us. So my mom would
oh,
take me to Cedar Point every year, which is an amusement park
okay.
in Sandusky, Ohio. Um, what what was really funny though, and I don't understand this, and if my grandparents were still alive today, I'd be like, why? Um, when I was going through my mom's stuff, because I'm an only child, so I had to take care of everything. And my mom had, because I was raised with my grandma, grandpa, aunt, and my mom. That's how I
Yeah,
was raised.
yeah.
And so my mom had all my grandma, grandpa, and aunt's stuff. And so as I'm going through her stuff, I'm finding my grandparents and my aunt's things. And I found that my grandpa had like a little travel card that was like for some type of lodge near Disney World. So he
Oh,
was like a member of that little lodge next to Disney World. And I'm like going, so they went to Disney World without me. Why? Why would they do that? So I come from a long line of Disney lovers apparently, because my grandparents apparently would go there without me, and I don't recall that, but they probably just didn't tell me and would say we're just leaving town for a few days.
well, maybe you were just little and you don't remember.
I know I've never been to Disney World until 2008, I think it was my
Oh,
first trip. And I've only been to Disney World twice. I do recall we were supposed to go to Disney World and we drove, and because I remember going to like North Carolina, South Carolina, and all those. But for some reason, we never got to Florida. And I don't remember why we never got to Florida, but we ended up turning around and going back to Ohio. I
oh.
don't recall that, but I do recall going through, South Carolina, North Carolina, and all that.
Well,
But
what do you think about? Do you think that those places would be haunted? Have you
oh,
ever
I
heard?
know for sure Disneyland is.
Have you ever like heard? Has anybody ever recorded out there? Like that you know
No,
of?
Disney won't allow it, even though there's like a ton of rumors. And Disney, don't hate me. I love you, Disney. I wish Disney would allow it, but they won't. But I've had paranormal experiences at Disneyland. So, and there's rumors galore, that both Disney World and Disneyland are haunted, but they don't allow investigations and they don't allow the paranormal stories to get out and things like that.
Hmm.
I've talked to cast members in the past where they're like, don't tell anyone who I am or anything, but they've admitted to the paranormal experiences too, but they get into trouble, if their name got out that, they were talking about it.
Right. Well, that's weird. I guess that's just one of their rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the paranormal, so what is something that you're looking forward to doing in the paranormal? I know you're writing a book. Aren't you starting to write a book a little bit?
Yes. The
I know
book
just
deal,
yeah.
it goes back years. I was actually supposed to write what was called Haunted Tucson,
Oh,
and I broke the contract because of the fact that they wanted me to write in a way I didn't want to write. So, for example, They wanted me to, say that, there's this tale of, a ghost in white and blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't allowed to say, but this hasn't been confirmed, or, there's no true fact to it or anything like that. So I had to go with kind of more like the make believe and the old, tales and stuff. And I didn't like that, because you know me, and I have to always be brutally honest with, my findings and, what I've experienced and things like that. So writing a book to where I couldn't come out and say there's no truth to this, or this is all just a tale or whatever, I didn't like doing that because I didn't want to lead people in a wrong direction and believing these stories. So I broke that contract, and then my book just kind of sat on a back burner for a long time. And then, you know, it's kind of sad that this is what it took, but my daughter came up to me, and my youngest, and she's all, "Mom, when are you ever going to finish your book?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And she goes, "You need to finish it, Mom." And I'm like, "All right." So I started working on it again, and I actually got like really far, and I have it actually to where my historian, Kira, she's an awesome person. She's a great historian. She's looking up the history of, the book to make sure things are accurate. And then I have Maela, my co-lead investigator. She is a grammar Nazi. I love her to death. She is one of those people that you have to have the grammar exactly the way it needs to be, or it'll drive her crazy.
Yeah,
So she's looking at the grammar part of the book, so
that's
I can
good.
make sure that it's all correct that way. And then there's, bits and pieces here and there that I have to, add and subtract and all that stuff too. So it is there. It is getting worked on. Everything that happened kind of slowed it down a little bit. But I'm hoping to get back to that pretty soon too. My goal is to hopefully have it punished. I can't talk. Hopefully have it published by next October is my goal.
That's a good goal. And
Yeah.
so shout out to Mayella and Kira. Was it Kira? I
Yeah, Kira.
think I've met her.
Yeah,
Um,
she's been out to your place
oh,
for training once. Yeah.
okay.
So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, so shout out to Kira too then. So when you were writing, I was curious about this because I want to start writing a book. I've already got the ideas, several of them, but I was like, am I going to start writing or am I going to type? I just feel like I would write better, like write it first. How did you do yours?
To be quite honest with you, I even got a new computer and everything. My husband bought me a new laptop because my old one was really yucky. He bought me a new laptop so I could sit down and write this book on. You know where I wrote the book on?
What?
The notes section on my phone.
That makes sense.
That is literally, I'm like sitting there typing away. I like took I just started typing, and I wasn't stopping, and it's all on my phone. It's literally on my phone.
Yeah, I was just wondering because it's like once you get your spot, like I'll write a song, but I'll usually just write the song, or I'll hear the lyrics and I'll type them, or I'll say them on my phone. So, but when you're writing a book, that's going to be a lot different than one little old song.
Yeah, yeah. I just, I had all kinds of notes on my phone from, the original one, and what I wanted to go ahead and include and leave out and all that stuff. And so I literally just started taking those notes on my phone, and I just started writing away. And when I sent it off to May and Kira, it was from my phone. Luckily, Kira was able to put it in a document to where we can all like share it and, correct
Oh.
it, and do everything we need to do. I'm, like I said, technology hates me, so I can't do stuff like that. So luckily I do have some people that can do that technology stuff for me because it hates me. So
Well, it's you got a lot of good friends that just love you to pieces. So I'm glad that they're helping you with this because it's going to be really important. Now, I know that there is a book called Haunted Tucson.
yes.
and it's with our friend that was at the Tucson Paracon that you did, and he's like, he's just wonderful. Daryl, is it Daryl? Am I losing his? Is it Daryl?
Yeah, it's Daryl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw his book over. I think it's really good. I saw it over at the big fancy bookstore not long ago in the haunted section, kind of out Borders, or not Borders, but the big one.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah. Interesting enough, I actually wrote the opening for that book.
I know.
And I mentioned in that book several times. I think this is like the 5th or 6th book that I'm featured in. Which is another reason why everyone's like, when are you going to do your own book? You've been featured in like 6 books. When are you going to do your own?
Yeah, that's right. You have.
And yeah, I've been lucky enough to where I've, been able to write, stories and information and stuff like that for other, books. And I have them all in my closet. I have them all, tucked in, with my book collection. I've also been, featured in a lot of, news articles, and I've been on the news, and I've been very lucky for that. And what I find really hilarious though is when sometimes I will find out that articles were published about me and I wasn't even interviewed for them.
Oh, that is weird, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, when did I interview for that? And then I'm like reading it and none of the information's correct, and I'm like, well, okay, yeah, they didn't interview me.
Wow. I've seen stuff like that online. I'll put my name in, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is that? And I'll come like that. I have no idea what it is, but there is something about that they've taken, from one of the things that the articles or whatever. So they probably are doing the same thing and just taking.
Yeah, they look at other articles and they pull from here and pull from there, and all this stuff.
But that's
it's
nice.
So funny. You Google yourself and you find out rumors that things about yourself that you didn't even know. So you learn about yourself. There's one article that I'm reading, and it had that I was raised in Toledo, Ohio, and all this stuff, but it had all this other information. I'm like, wow, I never knew that about myself. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So what is your next, like you're doing some Halloween stuff, right? What have you got happening, that's happening this week, or that you just finished having, for the holiday season?
Well, we just finished on Saturday night. We had a special event with the History Museum. So the Historical Society out at, the U.of.A. We work with them every year for the past, I think, 3 years now. I think this was the 3rd time. Tamara, who used to work at Fox Theater, and I used to do a lot with, Fox Theater. She's working at the History Museum now, and she goes way out on events. She is so creative. She does, I hope I'm getting this right, Cannibal Collections. So she does like a lot of horror stuff. Like she will do like t-shirts, and she'll paint like suitcases and all this stuff. And it's like her artwork. She's so talented. And so she's like really into the horror stuff and very talented. And she puts on these events. And oh my God, the details she puts into these things is like outrageous. I would never have the patience or the creativity to do this. But her events are always like over the top. And so she'll do like trick or treating family events, and she'll have like scavenger hunts to where, she has like all the horror movies. You have to go find, the different things. She'll bring in performers. She'll bring in, actors that, do like trick or treating stations. And it's always like this huge event she puts on.
Wow.
And so we, help her with, the family fun event. And then after that one ends, we do a ghost hunting event, because the museum is definitely haunted. I mean, think about it. We have some of the oldest artifacts of, Tucson in that museum, or just in Arizona in general in that museum. So it's very active. They have this one area that's like an old created mine, but the stuff in the mine actually came from a real mine. And so that area, definitely has some activity. We've heard footsteps, voices, all that in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and I look forward to doing it. It's always so much fun, and I
Wow.
love working with Tamara.
Oh,
But we did that, and we're hopefully going to do it again next year. Halloween night, I have one of my employees doing an actual walking ghost tour, the Tucson Ghost Tour of downtown.
okay.
We did change the route a little bit, so it has a new route. It's shorter. I noticed with the Arizona heat, people didn't like the longer walk. So we kept as many buildings as we could in it. We still have, it's still 90 minutes. So we added some stories and, a couple new locations, but we made the route shorter. So it's not as long of a walk. So you're not out in that heat.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now it's getting cold at night. 'Cause I've even got,
Yeah.
like I was saying, I've got like a long sleeve shirt on. It's cold. Yay.
If I wanted to, I just don't have the time right now, but I could totally make like another walking tour of downtown Tucson because there's so many things down there that are haunted. And I might do that in the future. I might have 2 walking tours. I don't know yet, but so we have that on Halloween night. And then this weekend I have the ghost hunts in Tombstone. So
Oh.
yeah.
Now, do
Oh.
you go to those every time, or do you have people there that'll take over if you need, if you can't make it down there?
For the ghost hunts, it's always me.
Okay.
Yeah, so whenever anyone books a ghost hunt, it is me. I have May who can be a backup if I never can make it for whatever emergency reasons, but that's always me. I do not do the walking tours unless one of my ghost hosts have an emergency. To be quite honest with you, I did write the script. It is me, but I don't have the script memorized. So if I were to do my own walking tour, I would have to read my notes because I don't have it memorized.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, there's Will. I saw
I
Will.
Hello.
Will's
I'm
her
like,
name.
I saw someone in the background. It wasn't a ghost.
Yeah, he's such a good guy. You're such a there he is. You're a good guy, Will.
Oh.
And you love the doggies. Yeah.
Yeah. I told her that you're the one that got all uh
You're the one
got all in
with the
love with the
dogs.
dogs and got another dog instead of me. And he still wants that other one too.
I don't blame him if he already got his heart set on him. I'd go get that dog. Or
Don't encourage it.
but you could do the sponsor thing. I mean, like he
The
was thinking,
foster. Yeah.
foster. I mean, I don't know. We have so many. So, I mean, like if we, with the big guy, what you call him, the big guy, Dusty. I mean, he seems bigger now with his bigger fur coat. But he and Tatanka they're always at each other's, butting each other's heads. And now that the little kitty cat, we rescued the little kitty cat,
Aw.
that Joe saved her off the freeway. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. It's like, it's been about 8 months now. I think maybe 6 months, but he's driving on that freeway that goes, in downtown. So it's the big freeway that has the ramp. And he sees a little kitten huddled in the corner of the wall.
Aw.
And he's like, oh my God, is that a cat? And it's starting to rain. It was one of those rain days. And he got off the freeway, got back on the freeway. So, it's not easy. Gets
Right.
back on and he stops in the traffic and he gets that little cat who had been run over.
Oh no.
She was really hurt. So he called our country vet, and he said, bring her on in. And you know what? The sad thing is there's nothing you can do to give cats cannot take aspirin or Tylenol or medicine. So that little cat, who I call little kitty cat, I mean, she's like a miracle. She had a completely broke leg. She had a gash on the back of her back leg, horrible cut. And her jaw and her face was cut up and bashed. Her teeth were all broke. That
Aw.
cat survived and without any medicine. And we just brought her in the cabin and I thought she was going to die. It was horrible. But you know what? Little by little, by little, by little, by little, within a month, we brought her into the house, and she's still there. She has a little. We put her in this cage, but she's like her home now. She can come in and out of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been about 8 months. So now she's a hobble. She hobbles around. So, but
Aw.
Dusty, if it wasn't for Dusty, he kind of scary to her. So, and he did kind of mouth her. So she doesn't really like him, but she's really good at with everybody else. So she's doing good. But she's all healed up. Her leg will always be messed up. But
Right.
so anyway, Will. So, it's like we added one more animal to so we've got the 3 cats and the 6 dogs, right?
I'm like trying to get my doggy.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone, so I'm like trying to travel with my phone. There's Belle. There, see, she
Oh,
came back.
hi,
Hey,
Bill.
Belle.
Hi. We're
Say
so
hi.
home. Yay.
Yeah, she came home, and then we have Ariel on my bed. Say
Hi.
Ariel.
Oh. This is like my house. Oh, and look, everybody's so happy and sleepy. Oh,
Our
goodness.
bed is not our bed. We have to share with the dogs.
Oh, but it's like, adding the one more cat. Oh my God. So I can imagine if you added the one more dog, and oh my gosh, but you guys are so wonderful, and you save animals, and you're so great. You have your children are wonderful. Your 2 daughters are just, well, you have more children than that, but I know
Yeah.
your 2 daughters, and you've raised them very well.
Oh,
And
thank
you
you.
always take them to good places, and
We
you got,
try.
you got a good family. I'm just so thankful to know you. And I want people to understand that you are the real deal. Like, you are, like, I guess one of the comments you always say, you've said, I've recorded you saying this, that when you first heard from me, you thought, what is she like? You thought I'd want more of a psychic type,
Right.
thing, kind of like the Dead Files. But I wanted a person like you, and I tried to look up everyone, and I'd heard of some people that did what you do, and I didn't feel comfortable with them. And then I researched a lot of people. But when I got to your site and I kept reading it, I'm like, this is the person we need. And so I reached out to you, but I think it was actually during the pandemic, or it was
Yeah.
after the.
Yeah, you did, because we couldn't take any cases because of all the stupid law stuff that was. We couldn't
Yeah.
leave our houses.
Yeah, we couldn't go anywhere. We were locked down. You were locked down. We were locked down.
Yeah.
You were
But as
probably
soon as
locked.
we could, we went
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah, and it's been amazing. And I know that you want to come back out again. We want to have them come out again, and they've done training out here, and it was, to me, it was just amazing to have everybody come out and train out here. That it's amazing that we have that much stuff going on, and there is. It seems kind of quiet now, Becky, though, but I did hear we've heard a few things. It's been weird. It's like, what was that? So it's like a voice just out of nowhere will come in. I'm like, well, I haven't heard that in a while. And the other day, I heard it was like the something like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the pictures right behind me it's a spirit picture, okay? And I had found it in a box, and I remember looking at it, and I'm like thinking, the thing was all secure in it. There was no way that it was secure, the picture. But one day I looked around and I heard a thump, and then I came back and I'm like, what was that? And the thing was out.
oh wow.
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, I wonder if I should have put that in the box or whatever. But I didn't think about it, but it was like, there's absolutely no way you would have had to have taken it out. I mean, it was like pulled out. So yeah. But we are having some stuff going on at the house right now that we just really can't do an investigation right now. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that again in the future and have you guys back out. Are there other places that you can go that you like to go that'll let you just come on over and do training and stuff, more of them?
Well, Undertakers has been really cool about that lately. So like I said, it's a little bit of a drive, but
Right.
they're so open, to me being there. They don't mind. They gave me the key and they're like, whatever you want to do, here you go. So they're really cool. Like I said, Wyatt and Sean, they're so understanding and so laid back. So I have new team members now, and we did do training out at Undertakers. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
So when people go out to Tombstone, do they stay in a hotel? Like, is there like a hotel deal? Like if Joe and I went, I mean, we could stay in a hotel there and then do the
Yeah, there's different places you can stay. I don't have the hotel deals, but yeah,
yeah.
that's actually one of the things that in the way future, I'm hoping to create with my travel agency is like these like haunted things. I would love to do like, the haunted vacations and stuff. So in the future, I'm hoping to kind of combine my travel agent thing with my paranormal thing. So
Oh, I think that's a great idea, Becky.
yeah, I think that would be fun.
Yeah, write a book about that. Like so when you do that, you can write a book.
Yeah.
Like about where you travel. If you're traveling too, you can travel too.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to travel a lot more than I do, but
Well,
there's this thing called, having to have money and this thing that, your kids are in school. So yeah.
yeah, it makes it really hard. And or
Yeah.
if you're like me and you just absolutely don't like flying, I got used to it after this weekend though. I did 4 flights within
Yeah.
5 days and I survived and I actually did pretty good the last airplane. So I guess I didn't die and I feel like it'll all be all right.
I don't really have
Um,
a problem with flying. It's not my favorite thing, but I've done it, because I go back to Toledo. Well, I used to go back every summer.
yeah.
Um, so I kind of got used to it. The only thing I get really nervous with traveling, to be honest, is California traffic. Driving in California traffic is what gives me anxiety.
Yeah. And if you guys are going to California Disneyland, then you're definitely in the
we
traffic.
we hit that, yeah. Something that should only take you like a half an hour to get to takes, 2 hours instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what makes me nervous. I'm okay with flying. But yeah, it's the traffic in like LA and stuff that really gets to me. It makes me nervous.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't think I'll ever really be going back there. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But I don't like that traffic either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, is there anything that you would like to? We've only got a few minutes left. Is there anything that you would like specifically to talk about before we end the show?
Just, to tell people to definitely check out TucsonGhostCompany.com. See all my tours and ghost hunts and everything. And then, of course, if you need an investigation, Tucson Ghost Society. We have our own website, TucsonGhostSociety.com. But, like you said, we are definitely skeptics, which, people need to know that we're not going to go in there and, oh, yeah, you got a ghost in that corner. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to provide you proof if you have that ghost in that corner.
Right.
I'm very picky about that. I built this. This is my 11th year doing this. It's been 11 years already. And I built everything on that, basis of, we want the evidence. We want to prove that it's actually out there. Because just going out and saying that you feel this or you see this doesn't prove anything. So we want the actual proof. And getting the actual proof, helps, people like you and, other people to know that, it's not just something weird or, something in their head. So that's why we go by the actual proof.
Yeah. And I always say that one of the things that I feel the most, I don't know, joy about is the fact that I feel validated. Because
Mhm.
when you are a person that is seeing this stuff or hearing these things or experiencing these things and your family's experiencing these things, it is not something that people really talk about. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't even talk about it. They just keep it all quiet, right? And so I think when it comes to the point, once you start to talk about it, then people start calling you, you're full of shit, or, or like, you're crazy. I mean, or you're seeing things, or, whatever. So just the fact that, um, with our story, how you were able to come out and literally, pretty much, I think every single time there was either footsteps or voices, or, you know, there's just every kind of thing that I mean, I think there's been every kind of thing except the little, I don't think we've had that where you brought that, or maybe you did, but I don't remember, where you see them, moving with the little dots or whatever, the lines.
Oh yeah. Um, I don't use that very often because mine is actually where you have to hook it up to your laptop and stuff.
Mm.
So I don't have a portable one, so it's harder to do. I want to get a portable one, but they're so
Christmas present,
expensive.
Christmas present,
Yeah,
Will.
if everyone wants to chip in, ghost hunting equipment is not cheap. It's really not. So we have to decide, what we're going to use the most and what's going to be more beneficial to us, and decide from there. Just like we need to get new cameras for the team now. So it's not cheap. It's definitely not something that, it's a very expensive hobby. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've literally turned it into you're just great at what you do. You're really great at this. It's really fun to watch the team come out. I mean, I think it's fun. I mean, there's been times it's been scary and it's been, all that. But once we've gone through a lot of this, it's just exciting when you come out. I filmed a lot of it, not a lot, but I filmed pieces of it. And I always enjoy, like, wow, look at how many people are here. When I look back at that, all the people, and how long it takes you to set these things up in different locations, and where they're going to be at, and, who's going to be in this room, and all the one of the things where, you have like the observation deck where you've got different locations with the different cameras, is always very interesting. I think I used some of that in the documentary, and it's one of my favorite parts because it really shows, like, you're talking, but you're talking in one of the things where I think you recorded for me, and then I'm showing what you're doing, like showing the team working, and to me, it's one of my favorite parts of the film, and I just really enjoy the fact that, it's like, it's almost like being able to just, see a real professional work, because I know there's different types of groups.
Mhm.
And one of the things that, now that I'm with the Unseen Realm podcast and Archbishop Ronald Enright, one of the things about the Order of Exorcists, and that's what he's a part of, he's created the Order of Exorcists for like 40, 50 years, but they work with paranormal investigators. Many of the exorcists themselves are deliverance ministers, are paranormal investigators. And I thought, this is perfect for me, because it's not keeping it like, where, oh, that's something you can't do. You can't do paranormal and, God stuff. Well, it's not that way with them. And so I love that, knowing that how your team works, and that knowing that there's these other teams now that can come in, and literally, if they want a deliverance minister or an exorcist minister, they can use that with their teams in different locations all over the country, all over the world. And so it's been fascinating to listen and talk to these other paranormal teams, and people that have been a part of this, because like, when I first reached out to you, and it was before that I was looking for an exorcist in town, like a minister, like at exorcist place, like, I was just like, how do I get an exorcist, and nobody would do it. Nobody would come out here. No, they treated me, I don't know, I wish I would know their names now, I would call them back. But I just felt like, they were not interested in helping me. And so it all worked out okay for us, but I think it would had been cool if um just the fact that some families that you're going to run across, just like me, they're going to be some really bad stuff in those houses. And sometimes that stuff doesn't want to leave. And so, and I don't believe that you ever, like, by the time it was all coming down with you here, it wasn't long after that, Bill Bean was working with us. So, I mean, who knows what would have happened the way if it wouldn't have happened, but it did happen the way it happened. But I always feel like when you came out here that you were always you never tried to stir anything up.
No, no.
Just yeah. And so you talk a little bit about that. Like I've talked to Blaine Rowan, different Destiny Fox and Michael Fox, all on our network, the Web Radio Network. And they've talked a little bit about paranormal investigation and how people go try to stir it up. Could you talk about that?
It's not a smart thing to do. There's a lot of teams that'll go on in there and they'll provoke, they'll be rude. And that is something that I will never encourage and I will never do. And anytime I accept anyone, I am so picky with my team members and they know that, there's guidelines they have to follow or else. But you treat the spirits as if they are a fellow human being. So you're not going to, well, hopefully you're not going to go up to someone and, tell someone you're going to do this or else. Because you're going to, get slapped around or something. And you do that to the spirit world because that's going to have, consequences too. So you treat them with respect. You go in there, you talk to them with respect. You thank them, even, if you didn't get anything that night, you still thank them just in case they are there. I'm very picky on this. And there's only been a time or two where I've had to stand my ground. I wasn't really mean, but I had to tell them, they weren't allowed to do things. And that's about the meanest I get is telling them you're not allowed to do this, or you must leave, or things like that. And I've had to do that a couple times. But I'm never rude and I'm never, provoking. So basically, like I said, that's the toughest I get is telling them, and usually it's because it deals with me. As
You're talking about if you're
sick
talking
and
about,
I'll get the scratched and stuff like that.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so, when I did one residential case, I was really, really sick. And even, my husband was like, you got to go in there and, stand up for yourself and tell them to stop. And that's what I'll do. Or if it's harassing a child, I will, be tough and be like, you're not allowed to do this. You cannot harass this child. But I don't go in there and, like do this or else and blah, blah, blah. I don't stir it up, I'm very respectful. But I will, if, something needs to go or be taken care of, I will, tell it does have to stop. What are you trying to do? Are you interrupting me? Apparently he's going to print something and the printer's right above where.
Well, yeah. So I think it's important to not like stir. I mean, I know for a fact you've never stirred anything up here. It's just, if there was agitated or either mean stuff out here, it was already here. It wasn't like you were, pushing at it to be more. And we do know that there's a lot of paranormal shows that will do that.
Yes, that we won't name, but I do not approve. Yeah. Yes. In all reality, I can't go into too much detail because of the fact that we don't want to name these shows, but they did go to a location here in Tucson and they were very disrespectful. And I was called into this location and I had to calm it down for them. So I had to actually kind of make it more calm for them. And after I did my investigation, they actually thanked me and said that they appreciated the way I approached it. And then I got in contact with them again to show them the evidence, and they said that after I left, they could feel like the environment was definitely calmer than after this TV show had been there. So they're hoping to work with me. So I'm actually going to be hopefully working with them soon, but I don't want to make any announcements to everything's like final. So we'll see.
Well, I hope something good happens like that for you.
I hope so too, because I need it.
Well, I think we've come to the end here.
Hi,
And so we
Oreo.
got the hi.
That's Oreo. That's the new one.
Hi, Oreo. Well, Becky, thank you so much for being on with me tonight.
Well, it was nice talking to you. We haven't talked in a while, so.
I know this is the big Halloween week.
Yes.
I figured, I thought I was going to have the other people on again. I thought, well, we did so much of the Unseen Realm 3 weeks in a row. And I thought we need to get Becky on because we can do the Halloween type thing and that'll be perfect. I'm so glad. You know what? And maybe you can come back on. I know that you're not doing your show right now for a while, but maybe we can plan where you come on every so often. And that way you can kind of keep keep up on the this type of stuff every so often. Like I know you like to do it. You did.
Yeah, I do. I've been debating on when I want to go back to doing it. I've been back and forth on it, so I don't know when I'll go back to it. But yeah, I definitely do miss it, and it's definitely something I do like doing. So,
Well, you can come back here again. I'll make sure that you come on at least in
okay.
a few months or after. Do you have anything going on at Christmas that's a haunted Christmas or anything?
Not yet. Maybe soon. Find out.
I couldn't
Kind of
remember.
day by day thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't
No, I'm
remember.
going to do ghost stories on November 30th at a vineyard out
Oh, okay.
in Sarita, I think it is. So
Oh, okay. Cool.
I know
Okay.
I'm doing that, but other than that, it's playing it by ear. I have people that have contacted me. It's just trying to play it all out. So we'll see.
Right. Well, let me know when the dates are on that, and then I can make a little advertisement here and, make a little thing for you so that way people can know what's going on for Sayurita. That's not too far from here. So that
Yeah.
sounds like a fun thing.
Yep. Everyone drinks wine and we tell ghost stories. Where can
Well,
you go wrong with that, right?
I don't know. I can't really drink anymore, but I'm sure it's fun. All right, Becky, thank you so much for being here.
Well,
Oh,
thanks, Mercedes.
let's give out. So it's Tucson. Give out your email, or not your email, but your website again.
It's TucsonGhostCompany.com for the company part of it, and TucsonGhostSociety.com for my team.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And hopefully we'll be able to share. I don't know if we're going to be able to share the music video, but I did share it on my Facebook page. And then I'm also going to share it on my YouTube. So you'll be able to see Ghosts in the Dark that way. And that's one of the things that's going to be my second documentary. So I've got this first one, which is Shadows of the Desert. So when I start the next one, which Becky will be a part of that documentary, it'll be called Ghosts in the Dark. So that's my second one that I'll be having out. And I appreciate it. And everybody be sure to look up Becky McKiddy-Gydeson and see how many things are really about Becky, or did they just make them up?
Never know. I haven't Googled myself for a while, so I'm kind of scared.
All right. Thank you so much, Becky, and have a wonderful night. Good night, everybody.
Hey.